School, the Directorate of Marrakesh, the Regional Academy of Marrakesh, Safi. Good morning, all second-year baccalaureate students across Morocco. Dear viewers and followers, welcome to this new video lesson from the second-year English Baccalaureate Program series. Today we're going to deal with a new course and a new video lesson which is going to be about the passive and the active voice. We're going to talk about the main transformations which take place when we actually transform a sentence from the active form into the passive form. For newcomers and new followers, if you want more videos, either the old and the previous ones or the most recent and most updated ones, do not hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is entitled English for Al, as you can see on the screen. If you do not, of course, opt for YouTube, or you do not have a chance to follow me on YouTube, you can also log on to my Facebook page, which is entitled English for All, as you can see on the screen here. So today in this video lesson, we're going to talk about the passive form. Today we're going to deal with the main transformations that we need to know, or that a learner of English needs to know before they proceed into, let's say, applying these transformations to the sentences. So when we talk about the passive, we all know that we have two, let's say, forms. We have the active voice and the passive voice. Today we're going to talk about the main transformations, the main or the most important transformations that we need to know if we want to proceed into transforming sentences from active into passive, or vice versa, from passive into active. So as you can see here, we have an example sentence. We have Germany manufactures. Manufactures means produce or make luxurious cars. So we have Germany manufactures luxurious cars. The first operation or the first procedure that learners need to pay attention to is that they have to determine, let's say, the word categories that they have. We have to determine what word category is this word here, Germany. And we have to determine what word category is manufacturers, and then what word category is luxurious cars. In other words, and in order to make things very clear and simple, we have to determine the subject and the verb and the object. So very simply, we have here the subject of the active sentence, and we have the verb in the active sentence, and we have the object in the active sentence. So when we determine these categories, we have subject, verb, and object. Then we proceed into the first transformation. The first transformation is switching the position of the subject and the object. So I will use these arrows in order to help you follow the transformations or the procedure. So the first thing is that we bring luxurious cars and we put it in the initial position of the passive sentence. So we have luxurious cars, and we switch the position of the subject here into the final position or the end position, which is Germany here. Okay? Then the most essential and the most complicated, to a certain extent, operation or procedure is when you want to drop the verb into the passive form. So here we have this verb. It's very essential. You should pay attention to it. We have two operations or two procedures that you have to apply. So we have to state, let's say the verb and state, it's tense if you want. It is in the simple present. So the tense is the simple present. Why? Because we have the S here. So the tense is the simple present. Why do we need to state the tense of the verb, of the active verb? Because we have a verb which we are going to actually bring, and we are going to put it in the same tense. So the verb that I'm talking about is the verb to be. So we have to use this verb here, to be, in the same tense of the active verb. So the tense is the simple present, then we have to put the verb to be in the simple present. Before you actually put this verb in the simple present or the tense of the active verb, you have to pay attention to the subject, or to the, if you want, the object of the active sentence. So we have the subject here is luxurious cars. It is plural. So we have to actually put the verb to be in accordance to the subject that we have here. So it should be are and not is or on. So luxurious cars are, because we have a plural subject. Luxurious cars are. Plus what? Plus the same verb, which is manufacturers, in the past participle form. I always, insist on trying to actually learn and trying to keep in touch with these verbs, because they're very important in the second-year baccalaureate programs, especially grammar lessons. So we have are plus the past participle. Okay, past participle. It is a regular verb, so we need to add just D. So we have manufacture, ed. So are manufactured. Here we have Germany. Germany is called the agent. The agent in the passive form simply means the one who does the action. Hence we call it doer of the action. The doer of the action. The one who is responsible for doing the action or performing the action that we have in the sentence here, which is producing and manufacturing cars. So luxurious cars are manufactured. We need something here in order to make this sentence accurate and grammatically correct. So we have the agent. We insert the phrase by. It's very important. Luxurious cars are manufactured by Germany. Luxurious cars are manufactured by Germany. So here we have a passive transformation. And here we have an active transformation if you want. So if you respect the following, let's say, procedures, then you will not have any problems with transforming sentences from the active into the passive. So we have seen the example. Germany manufactures luxurious cars. Luxurious cars are manufactured by Germany. So the first procedure is to switch the position of the object to the subject position in the passive sentence, and switch the subject of the active sentence into the position of agent in the passive sentence, and then we drop the verb from the active form into the passive form. We put the verb to be in the same tense of the active verb, and we add the same verb in the past participle. So this is how we actually make this transformation. Now we're going to move into more important things. Now we're going to talk about another important rule that you have to pay attention to. As you can see here, we have a sentence with one object and a sentence with two objects. We're going to see how do we transform sentences with one object. We're going to see this example, and sentences with two objects, as you can see. So let's, as I told you in the beginning of the lesson, let's determine the different word categories. So as you can see here, we have the first word that we have is always a subject. So we have here scientists, subject. The verb is have found. This is the verb in the active sentence. And a cure to the disease is the object. Very nice. So it's very easy. If we want to transform this sentence into the passive, here we have the active transformation, as you can see. Now we're going to transform it into the passive transformation. So as I told you, we're going to switch the position of these two word categories, the object and the subject. So the object comes to the initial position. So a cure to the disease. This is, if you want, the object of the active sentence. It becomes, or it takes the subject position in the passive. We bring it here. A cure to the disease, and then we take the subject to the end, which is scientists. We're going to write it here. Scientists. So I think things are, getting clear to you. So a cure to the disease, and here we have removed the subject to the final position of the passive. Then we need to drop the verb transformation this way. We have found. We should always state the tense. Have found. Have plus past participle of the verb. It is the present perfect. So we have to state the tense of the active verb. It's present perfect. We put the verb to be in the present perfect. So the verb to be in the present perfect is have been or has been. We should always go back to the subject here. A cure to the disease, and we decide whether it is singular or plural. So if it's singular, we're going to use has been. If it's plural, we're going to use have been. So a cure to the disease, it's singular, has been. And then we go back to the verb. Where is the main verb here? It's find. What's the past participle of find? It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same form. Has been found. So if we have, as I told you, the agent or the doer of the action, the person who is responsible for the action in the passive transformation, we need to insert the by phrase. By scientists. A cure to the disease has been found, has been found, did not be, has been found. A cure to the disease has been found by scientists. So we have actually made the passive transformation successfully. Let's go to the second category here. What about sentences with two objects? So as you can see, we're going to determine again, let's say, the different word categories. So we have the doctor is the subject. The verb is prescribed. It's a verb in the past, prescribed in the past simple. What? An injection is object 1. To me is object 2. So please remember, we have subject, and we have verb, and then we have object. Remember these two word categories this way. Object 1, okay, and object 2. It's not important if it is a direct or indirect object. So we have object 1 and object 2. So here we have two possibilities. You can either start your passive, this is the active transformation, and we would like to transform it into the passive transformation or the passive form. You can either start your transformation in the passive with object 1 or object 2. You decide. So let's start with object number 1. So we're going to, make the first transformation, which is A, with object number 1. We switch the position and we bring it to the initial position. It becomes like this. An injection. Where is the verb? It's prescribed. Prescribed is in the past, so we have to put the verb to be in the past simple. So prescribed it is with ed, or it ends with ed, so it's past simple. That's the tense that we have here. So the active verb is in the past simple, so we have to put the verb to be in the past simple, and of course we should actually decide about this on the basis of the singular that the subject that we have, whether it is singular or plural. So an injection is singular. So we're going to use was. We drop the verb, let's say the active verb, let's say to the position of the passive verb. So an injection was plus what? The past participle of the verb prescribed, because it is regular, then it ends with ed, so we use it in the same form. Prescribed. Prescribed what? Was prescribed to whom? Prescribed, of course, to me. By who? By the doctor. So an injection was prescribed to me by the doctor. This is transformation A. Let's have a look at transformation B. So we're going to start now with object number 2 and not object number 1. So we're going to switch the position of this object here and we bring it to the initial position. So it becomes to me, it means I am talking about myself. So we have transformed it. We have actually moved the object to the initial position. The verb prescribed is in the past simple. So we're going to put the verb to be in the past simple. So I is singular. So I was plus what? Plus the verb here, prescribed in the past participle. I was prescribed. Prescribed what? I was prescribed. I was given what? An injection. Very good. So we have an injection. By who? By the doctor. So as you can see, I was prescribed an injection by the doctor. So these two sentences, A and B, these two transformations are transformations of a sentence with two objects. So it's, both correct to start either with object number 1 or object number 2. So we can start with an injection was prescribed to me by the doctor, or I was prescribed an injection by the doctor. The difference that we have is here. So we have injection, it becomes in the second transformation here, we keep it as object, and here we have to me, which was kept as an object in the first transformation. It is normally used as the subject in the second transformation. So these are, let's say, the words that we have to pay attention to when we switch there.